Marilyn Manson fans target Evan Rachel Wood in echo of Depp Heard trial. So this is this case has been going on not as long as Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have been in basically litigious, back and forth since 2016. This stuff kind of came out in the last couple of years, and if you don't know, we'll go through and we'll kind of give you like an overview. But basically, what it is that Evan Rachel Wood has claimed that Marilyn Manson, or Brian, what's his real name? It's
Brian
really funny.
Warner.
Brian Warner, which is like the most normal name.
It's like when rappers.
Yes,
he's just the epitome of like the white guy who's really, really, really desperate to be interesting, and he's not.
He is not. No, it's upset.
Man, Mary always offends me.
Yeah,
always.
That he's
desperate.
desperate.
You love Marilyn
my favorite
Manson?
Marilyn Manson.
You're such
I'm
a
biased.
freaking millennial.
I'm biased. My first band was a Marilyn Manson cover band. So
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and to be fair, I would say Marilyn Manson is more of a Gen X thing than a millennial thing.
Really?
Yeah, get your generations
Get
right.
your generations
he's
right.
53.
That's right.
So it says, so basically he's been accused of that they dated when she was 18 and he was 37. I saw one that said when she was 19, one that said when she was 18. The fact of the matter is here, she was very, very young. Mm-hmm. He was much, much older. He's a celebrity, which means he was always going to be allowed to get away with more than your average person. But it kind of just speaks to like what we talked about yesterday. The stuff with Ezra Miller is far more like for me, just far more egregious because it started so young. But me and Mary were having a discussion off camera earlier about whether, can these people be trusted to date anyone that age? No.
Can they be trusted to date anyone?
Celebrities are obviously exceptionally antisocial. Not antisocial in the way that they don't want to connect with people, but antisocial in that they're not socially developed people.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say demonic.
That too.
Well, they are, but I'm just saying they are not able to integrate in society and right. have normal relationships.
That's why they feed on themselves.
The fame
right.
walls them off in a lot of ways.
And
Once you reach a certain level of fame, it walls you off from polite society in a way.
This article and like the discussion around it, I don't understand why we have to make the comparison anyway.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a reach. I think
right.
this whole thing is a reach
because it's like, oh, it's a celebrity and they have an age gap, and then there were allegations of abuse.
What I think is there is a connection to them, and I don't know. I don't think they even mention it to Manson and Depp. They don't mention it in the article. I don't think. Because that they're
there is a connection to
friends.
Manson and Depp because they brought it up during the trial.
Okay.
That they Heard's lawyers brought up that
right.
they did like recreational drugs together.
He gave him pills.
And because the Manson is now persona non grata, that was supposed to be like guilt by association
right.
during the trial.
Right.
Even though like just because he knew that just because they did drugs together does not mean that he knew that he was abusive towards women. Right. At least without any proof to the contrary. I have no idea.
And then that ridiculous tweet where Marilyn Manson was standing next to Amber Heard and they were like, look at his face. He knew the whole time.
Really? Oh my goodness.
So it says Wood 34 has been sued by former fiance Manson, who's 53, after publicly alleging that she was subjected to domestic abuse at the hands of the shock rocker during their relationship. There's the claim that he basically R-worded her while filming a music video where it was supposed to be simulated
right.
sexual intercourse and ended up being real sexual intercourse, which is the most Hollywood. Like, where were the intimacy coordinators?
It's giving James Franco's sex scene masterclass.
Yeah, seriously.
We find out that like Marilyn Manson took that class and like he's like, I want to learn.
He was the only male student.
Oh man. It's not funny. It's not funny. It says with another celebrity legal battle set to likely dominate headlines, the social media landscape is already in a rise in opinion-based coverage on the case across various platforms, much like what occurred versus Depp. The Heard versus Depp trial, as if these places like Newsweek aren't just full of opinionated BS anyways.
Yes.
Like that's my favorite part. It's like they're so elitist that they're like, well, it's only cool and it's only okay when we give our opinionated. We're part of the authoritative news cycle.
Yeah.
So This is one of these things that says, given a taste of the flavor. Okay, we're going to go down here. It says, it would appear that Wood is now on the cusp of receiving similar attention online, with posts on the aforementioned platforms being TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, piling up over the last several days. Giving a flavor of some of the posts thus far, one 41-minute video was shared to YouTube on May 31st titled An Amber Heard Sequel. The hoax against Marilyn Manson versus Johnny Depp is Marilyn Manson is Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp on steroids. So I actually think that's these cases are so vastly different. There's almost nothing similar about it. The thing about the Heard and Depp one is she was so unlikable, and she got with the audio recordings with her saying what she said. It made it so easy for them to paint a very clear narrative about good and evil. Yeah. And this one, it just falls back on the 2018 trope of you have to believe women or you're a bigot of some sort. Do I think he was probably extremely messed up? Oh, I absolutely.
Oh, yeah. When Johnny Depp or Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Manson.
Okay, yes.
When I look at that picture, but then if I was 18 and I looked at Marilyn Manson, I'm like, that looks like a well-adjusted young man. Who treats all women with respect and behaves in nothing but the kindest fashion to all people.
Right. The age difference to me alone is just gross.
Well, these days you're not allowed to judge people based on how they look.
I can judge him based on whether I'd listen to his music as a performer or not, but whether I'm going to judge on whether I want somebody to be a romantic partner, you might make that first assumption and maybe you walk away. Maybe they are the nicest person in the entire world. Yeah. Hasn't anyone ever seen the movie Wayne's World when they finally meet Alice Cooper and he's extremely articulate and
It's funny you went there because that is what Manson looked to become who he became.
It bothers me that they... It seems like the draw is like, I'm gonna be the only person who understands this super complicated individual, but like he's not complicated at all. He's actually really a boring person who puts this appearance on.
Why do you think he's boring? How do we know that?
What's interesting about Marilyn Manson?
I mean, well, I like his music.
What's your favorite Marilyn Manson song?
I go back and forth. I really like Hollywood, which he wrote after he was blamed for Columbine, which wasn't even true.
Yep.
I got into him during I love Great Big White World, from Mechanical Animals. But I just find him as a writer, as his writing I like. It's introspective, and I've brought up before, I'm rather obsessed with Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson was close with this guy and Depp, so there's that weird trifecta of weirdos. Do I agree with this behavior? Hell no. But I think he created music that was...
Thank you.
Oh my goodness!
All right, now you're just being...
oh my goodness!
I feel like one of these dollar bills is going to land in your tea.
It's good.
I think so.
It's coming right for me.
But I think I always like people who push the envelope a little bit, whether or not I like him or not.
I just don't believe that he did push the envelope because his angle was always opposing a system that had been dismantled before he even rose to fame.
So I think you might not have been alive when he was doing that, though, because
might not have been alive. I was not alive
so
at all.
2 decades ago, it was a bit shocking, but I also agree now when people do what he was doing 20 years ago now, like what Lil Nas X is trying to do.
I immediately thought of Lil Nas X, but I was like, don't.
Now it's hilarious because it's silly. We've seen it
Thank
before.
you.
And it's not like Manson was the first to do it either because he looked at Kiss and who did you say?
Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper. A Christian man, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, look at Manson and I don't know. I can't wait to see what happens in court. We'll pick it apart at that point because now it's just hearsay. But I do see him going to these Sunday service things with Kanye. That's a whole other hot topic. But that's, to me, is interesting. Someone who is this antichrist superstar now going to gospel, whether or not we agree with that or not, it is some type of development.
It's always
such or not, I don't know.
It's also such a package of you're still an entertainer at the end of the day, and that's most of the time I don't buy that he leaves stage and he looks like that. That he goes home and he just lives in his normal house and does normal things. I don't know. But I'm more interested in the fact that people are migrating over now and making this one now about it. So I need to ask, is this because we as a society are just suffering and we're looking for anything possible to distract us from our lives?
I think people's personal lives are becoming more dysfunctional. that's just my speculation. I don't have evidence. That's my intuition telling me that, like, in a time of recession and unrest,
well, yeah,
and when we don't have good distractions even offered to us in the media, now we're kind of addicted to what's the next dysfunction in other people.
It's almost
that
like
we
this
can,
is the
like, observe and opine on.
I was like, because I was watching an old Razor Fist video where he's talking about how the superhero genre is dying slowly, and he goes through various decades where different. Thank you. He goes through various decades of different genres of movies. You know, film noir had its decade. The action movies of the '80s, and he goes through how all of these genres have their time, and then they slowly fade out and die. But we're in a unique time where both superheroes have extended past their life expectancy, just as technology is changing. And I was wondering, like, what will be the next genre to overtake?
We're watching it. It's this.
And we're watching it. Like it used to be, like, we're going to talk more about docuseries today, all that stuff. Like, I think it really is, like, people are just, they're sick of, like, whether it's because you see everyone's actual lives on TikTok and social media, they don't want fake anymore. They want to see actual human beings actually suffering.
But then they want immediately after to have that actual human being actually suffering recreated by other actors. Like, I was thinking of, like, the O.J. Simpson case that they just redid a few years ago.
The people versus O.J. Simpson.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but we always loved the court stuff. We like watching people's lives get picked apart, like what Mary said.
And I think we're starting to see, like, the average person will wilt and wither backwards if that's them analyzing the average person, but seeing it done to a celebrity somehow makes them less than human to us. In a way. Like, you can, like you said the other day, like, people feel okay like ragging on Amber Heard, partially because it's societally acceptable, but also because she's a celebrity. They feel a certain amount of distance between them. So it's this weird cohesive mixture of both the real world and something that they can see as, like, a weird form of art.
I believe this is nothing new.
And this is where this is why I keep coming back to that the Depp fans are now latching onto this case. It should never be about Depp fans and Heard fans. It should be about who wanted the truth to come out. So just the fact that it became a team sport speaks to how kind of ghoulish all of this is.
What I was going to say is, like, I don't think this is anything new. I think humans always do this.
Yeah.
And I think about, like, when I look at celebrities in Hollywood, the way different people see different celebrities differently, the Heard versus Depp stuff, it's like Greek gods. And, like, there were different cults to different gods. And they would war. And we're doing the same thing now. Like, the gods would always, you know, hook up, break up, kill this person, do that, do this. And we're always just obsessed with thinking of things that are supposedly greater than us and tearing them down.
So I want to read a little bit of what she said before we move on. So it says, this is her quote. This is from a while back, but I tried to put a little bit of context into it. Thank you.
And you're going to read it in her voice?
I'm not going to. I don't know what Evan Rachel Wood sounds like. So the 30-year-old then likened the two instances of sexual assault and violence to a mental scar that I feel every day. Quote, my experience with domestic violence was this, she said. The toxic mental, physical, and sexual abuse, which started slow but escalated over time, included threats against my life, severe gaslighting, and brainwashing. Waking up to the man that claimed to love me, R-wording what he believed to be my unconscious body. So we heard, remember when we talked about Elvis and the stuff? Like, it feels like that type of sexual deviancy seems to be, like, the largest, like, connecting force between almost everything in Hollywood. And it blows my mind.
It could have been worse. It could have been cannibalism.
It wouldn't be. Army Hammer, he's got that covered.
Yeah.
Even
they're
that
both pretty
is
bad,
just another example of, like, this is my thing that makes me interesting.
Yeah.
And you said,
I text message women things that make them laugh.
If it's true for both stories, though, because I still don't know the truth for both of them.
The hardest part about this is that I don't know as much about it, and there's so much time has passed since
just don't know.
Since this happened.
I just don't know. I feel icky that I even have to be out loud second guessing any of these things. I shouldn't have to, but since we've seen so many lies through the corporate media, through Hollywood, of course, you have to. Because I'm not gonna be a dummy again.
You have to at least ask at the very least you have to ask questions. You can
but
be
if you
compassionate.
do that, you're a bad person.
You're a bad person. Yeah, that's the world we live in.
The theme of stories like that is, like, the banality of evil, but then the banality of discussing the banality of evil over and over again.
That's the
think
title
we're-
of your book.
I think we're on to something.
The
right?
banality
Yeah.
of discussing the banality of evil. Yeah.
I think we're on to something here.
I like that.
So I would be interested to know what the general public's obviously the people who are super big Depp fans who have kind of gotten out of touch with like what was actually supposed to be gained from the trial and made it kind of a spectacle. I'm not saying that's all of them. I'm saying that some people did
Yeah.
that on both sides,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
the herd fans were just as weird. That's just my personal take on it. It'll be interesting to see where the public discourse falls on this as it goes further. I don't think it ends up making it anywhere near the same size of trial.
No,
I-
no.
Not even close.
I think Manson is an easier target. If it's, I don't know if that's not to say the allegations are false or true, but just
Less
seeing what
people
they've
will
done
be
to
willing
him.
to-
It was also
through the
just a
years.
greater volume of allegations.
16 different
too,
women
Yeah.
came
versus,
out against him.
Right.
Versus what
Right.
was it? 2 women for Depp.
One
Yeah.
and a half. The other one was like
yeah,
kind
like
of,
half-hearted
I still- I-
addition.
She's like,
to-
yeah, he was kind of bad.
I still,
Right,
I,
right.
I still like the court of like actual court,
Yep.
and the court of public opinion shouldn't sway that. And I've seen that many accusations against presidents, and I have to just say, I don't know. Anecdote should never dictate truth.
Yep.
Or it has to be picked apart. I
Absolutely.
just don't know.
Okay, we had some super chats. Do you want to read the super
Yeah.
chats?
Hava Owens said, "Weirdos, I tell you, folks. Hollywood is gross."
I thought he was calling us weirdos at
Yeah.
first. Because
Gee, thanks, Hava.
Thanks, Hava.
Ashton the Slytherin said, "If you watch any interview with him, he's very articulate."
It's always funny because that seems to be like an aspect of those of people who have the shocking persona. It becomes part of their like the dichotomy of who they are. Like they want you to be surprised. Like, oh, they speak so
Right.
well. Like
It's just like praise me a fish for swimming, please.
yes, exactly.
And of course, a Slytherin would like Marilyn Manson.
yes.
Come on.
Perfect.
John Lee said, "Please no more celebrity court cases. I don't care about these weirdos."
I'm with you, but to me,
But the views.
Covering it is one of those things where, thank
you.
you. I see it as kind of a way to digress, to digest where the public opinion and things are going right now.
Yeah.
Remember, when Me Too happened, all of that came to a head around the time of Kavanaugh, which was not our area, it was around that time, which led into Harvey Weinstein. So there are court cases that are spread out intermittently throughout all of these experiences that are supposed to, stand in for what public opinion is, if all goes well, or that's what they would like to see happen. So it feels like court cases are always going to be inevitable in these things.
And unfortunately, I think even if the celebrity stuff, because I also am disgusted by celebrity worship, but it is important because it does have certain implications, even these types of court cases for people like us, anyone, just live in the world, like the Covington kids.
Yep.
The news can say one thing that's completely untrue, and at least there's some precedent in like what happens when the lies are spun in the media.
Absolutely. There was some more.
Yeah. Joseph Fazio said, I don't know what you meant to say there, but I'll just say bleep Brian Warner. He and Jory deserve it.
I don't know who Jory is.
I don't either.
Jory. Oh, so Jory is or is it Jordy?
No.
It might have. It says Jory, but it might have meant Jordy.
If it's Jordy, that would be
With an
Manson's
I?
bass player. I don't know if
Okay.
that's. I'm not seeing it.
I don't know.
Who also had accusations, and I don't know about that guy.
Listen, I don't doubt for a second that they all did awful things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I just also am
I also
questioning.
I also
everything.
ask questions because they made it. They made a documentary about it.
Right.
Which, if there's financial gain to be had there, I have to at least ask questions as to whether they're like, sure, maybe some of it's true, but maybe there's embellishment there because you think the movie will do better.
Right, and like what this also reminds me of is like that Leaving Neverland documentary about Michael Jackson. It was like, I don't know the truth, but what I do know now, what we all know now, is that those people who made those accusations, who made that movie, I guess it's all been debunked. Whatever they were saying.
Yep.
That shouldn't take away from whatever might be credible accusations, but if that's how a lot of people are basing their opinion on Michael Jackson, then that's false.
Yep.
Then we have to return to whatever the other accusations might be that are credible.
All I know is like people are obsessed with peeling back the curtain now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe this is the death of Hollywood.
Well, we've kind of been watching that in slow
Yeah.
motion for a while.
That's exciting.
now. Or at least maybe
It's barely even been born.
Hollywood going
True,
through its
true.
own unique transformative process right now into
It's
something we
dying
just
young.
never knew it before.
It's just been born, but it's gone through so many changes too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Think of like silent film and how quickly silent went to sound, and they just keep destroying whatever came before it.
Yep.
And here we are.
Mayor Mercules said, just because you're articulate doesn't mean you're smart or a good person. Manson is just a weirdo that should have been left in the early 90s. Agree.
Disagree.
Agree.
We could have dropped him off at a Hot Topic somewhere and been done with this ages ago.
Make America Hot Topic again.
No.
Hava Owen said it's a distraction campaign and it's not that good.
It's definitely not.
Yeah.
It's definitely not
So
nearly
true.
as.
Right.
It's because Manson and Evan Rachel Wood are just not the actors that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp are. That's the problem.
Right.
Also, like, I was saying this during the trial and I stand by it, that people were into the opportunity to dunk on a woman finally for accusations they believe to be false, and that's cool and everything, but like, she was made a scapegoat. It is a thing that happened.
Yep.
Right or wrong.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I think people are willing to dunk on anybody in Hollywood now, but it doesn't make it right though. Either way,
Certain
I
people
think.
have armor on them that
Yeah.
they're allowed to be free from criticism. Look at Ezra Miller. Like even
Well,
Yeah,
people
well,
were
that
just
guy.
hoping that, like, finally people are so repressed nowadays, not
Yeah.
allowed to speak out. They just were desperate for an opportunity to finally criticize a woman,
And just lash
because you
out.
can't criticize women
Yeah,
anymore. Hava Owen said, toxic relationship, dragging everyone into it again.
okay. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.